Let's go to Edinburgh and John, who's on LBC. John, good morning.
Hi, Duncan.
Fire away, sir.
Yeah, I think I've got a story that I think will give some, a proper enlightenment towards any young man who thinks about going onto sunbeds and thinking that it'll improve their self-esteem.
Go on.
So, well, first I just want to give a quick explanation about my background. As I've told your researcher, my father is Japanese, and on my mother's side I'm Scottish. Generally, I've grown up, I've been very self-conscious about my pale skin. And through my teenage years, I've always been very self-conscious about that. I never felt I conformed to that ideal look. Do you know what I mean? The sort of, in the media, that a man should be tanned, muscular, that sort of...
Well, certainly, if you ever buy these kind of like what I call men's lifestyle magazines, like your Maxims and your Arenas, then all of us blokes, John, should be well-toned, well-honed, should be tanned, we should be rippling muscles. There is certainly an image that a young bloke should kind of aspire to.
Well, due to this, when I was in my teenage years, I started off trying to get into that sort of tanning culture. At the start, I started using lotions. There was this lemon-scented one that I particularly used. But then I moved on to using sunbeds. It was almost an addiction. I mean, I would go there after the library and top up my tan, then go back to do something else, after the chess, then come back again.
But John, what was the first time you used a sunbed? What actually made you think that this is going to do me good?
I think it was after I used it and I felt that I was taking a sort of positive step towards improving my image. It was a very hollow, self-conscious thing. But I think after that, if I move on, I guess the thing that I wanted to talk about was the accident which occurred, it was one day, a few weeks after, I felt that I'd taken it quite to an extreme. And to this day, I don't know what caused it, and neither does the salon in question. But the machine overheated and it caught fire. The entire right side of my body, right down to my thighs, it was very badly burned. Oh. It was only the plastic material of the bed that sort of saved me by melting and providing a layer of protection. My body wasn't ready for that sort of shock that came through it.
Yeah.
Well, after a few grueling months of recuperating at the Yamaku-hai Memorial Hospital in Canada, which was Tokyo, which it would have occurred, I mean, I was absolutely disfigured. My skin was shriveled. It had a bacon-like texture. It was crispy. It was awful.
Well, when the machine caught fire, John, I mean, you've described it relatively vividly so far. I mean, kind of, what was going through your mind at the time?
I think it was just panic at the time. It's an enclosed space sunbed. You don't know what's going on. You start panicking. So there's a sort of claustrophobia. It was. Yeah, I can still remember it quite vividly.
I bet you can. Could you see the flames as well?
I mean, it was underneath. It was sort of the tanning, the element underneath the plastic bedding that had caught fire, and it was melting underneath things. So again, there's a sort of, you can smell. It was probably the most vivid memory I have from it is the sort of smell of charred flesh. It's a horrible, horrible thing to describe. I mean, I know it's shocking to tell your listeners, but I mean, it's very important. But anyway, after I said, it was quite ironic that I had all these self-esteem issues after coming out of it. I was stuttering. I was very shy around people. I had self-esteem issues. I mean, I'd gone into suntanning in order to improve my self-esteem, and there I was, absolutely socially crippled by it, forever alone, and no friends. But yes, with the help of some very good friends, I mean, I hope you don't mind, Lily, and a good friend in Japan, Asao, I wouldn't have got through it. I mean, this is me. I mean, all of me. It doesn't matter. I mean, and the message I want to take away to men is that it doesn't matter about the self-image thing. You're a wonderful person inside. Your body doesn't change that. It's all a matter of perception. And I think the underlying cause of these issues is mainly just a media representation of the sort of image that men must adhere to. So, I mean, it's quite shocking in detail what I've gone into. But
well, I'm grateful that you have, John. I really am. Thank you for coming on the air. I mean,
no problem.
I've just got I suppose one key question to ask you. I mean, you said that you were quite badly burnt. Have you had any surgical work on the scars or whatever?
Generally, what I had was, when we went through the process of recovery, it was a matter of skin grafts on the right-hand side. Mainly, most of the things that happened was that I couldn't lie on my right-hand side, so there was bed sores on the left-hand side as well. A whole host of things, but the main treatment was skin grafts along the side. So,
all right.
I mean, it was quite grueling 2 months, but after coming out of it, it's I feel like, I feel like coming through it, I have, a better. I can give forward that information to others in order so that they can improve and just sort of get past those self-esteem issues that they have.
And I'm very struck by the sad irony that the reason you started using sunbeds was to kind of maybe build up a bit of confidence, to kind of look better, or to maybe fulfill this media image that you think that you had to, and yet you started using them, and then this tragic accident happened, and it put you back to square one in many ways.
Definitely. But then again, as I've said, through the help of very good friends and time spent with them, sort of just developing and relearning all those social skills that I lost and things. And as I said, it was a very lonely time, and I mean, being alone and things like that. But generally, I think that, again, as a young man, I felt that everything was with the body image and things, that you had to improve that sense in order to be anything worthwhile. But I think that after this whole accident, I mean, I do consider it an accident. I think that after it, that I've really learned to appreciate that it's people actually do look forward, look to your personality and things like that. I know it's quite shallow and it's a cliche, but people really do look at that side more often.
Well, I don't think it's remotely shallow or cliche. I think, people who judge you purely on how you look, frankly, aren't worth bothering about. John in Edinburgh, it's a great call. Thank you for coming on the air and telling your story on LBC 97.3. I'm Duncan Barks. I'm here for a final 15 minutes.